You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Some of you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Adastra. So the last place we left off, we were just starting to get to know Alexios better. I like him so far, but as some of you in the comments have apparently somewhat spoiled for me, he may not be all that he seems, so I'm gonna keep a close eye on this kitty. Yeah, I'm gonna keep a close eye on this kitty. So, anyway, guys, please sit back and enjoy me for the next 20 minutes, and let's jump right in. Alarm chain, you're up, and let's go. Alright, okay. Alexios puts his paw back up on his head. Oh my, so many words, and in full sentences, too. I freeze. Oh, I mean, I don't really know what this food is. I'm just guessing. No, I mean, it's your words. So many of them in incomplete, complex sentences. Fuck, I'm bad at this. I guess the wolves uplifted intelligence a lot more back then. Oh, maybe. I wonder if I've ruined our plan already, but Alexios doesn't seem alarmed. Just curious, so I turned my attention back to the food. There isn't much left on the table. The meat was mostly cleaned off the bones by Cato. Next to it are 4 slices of bread and the bowl of olives. Alexios starts on the poultry, working at it with his claws until it comes apart in 2 pieces with a loud tearing sound. He hands me 1/2. You should be able to find a little meat on there. I take it from him, trying not to show my disappointment. Then he puts 2 slices of bread on a plate and slides it towards me before taking the remaining 2. Make sure to use the cheese. The bread is a bit bland without it. I pull a few thin strips of meat off the bone and taste it. It's good. Really, really good, and I quickly search the bones for more, but there isn't much at all. Hungry? I look up and see Alexios delicately picking at his own half of a bird. Yeah, haven't eaten in a few days. Oh, really? Why not? The trip here was a bit rough. I guess I did eat on the ship, but it wasn't very filling. Oh, like the protein sludge they have? Yeah, that stuff is quite terrible. I can understand why you're hungry. Well, you don't have to worry. Why not? We eat dinner with our masters in their rooms. Amicus always serves himself very large portions and also sneaks me my own food since Cassius doesn't take much himself. Alexios slowly spreads cheese onto his bread. He will take good care of you in that respect. With that mention of Amicus, I start to feel a bit lonely again. Actually, something I've noticed is that the whole palace seems to be lonely. So, where is everyone? Alexios chews thoughtfully on his bread. I try to think of a way to phrase things stupidly, then give up as I decide he already knows I'm able to form complex sentences. This palace doesn't seem to have very many people around. Oh, well, do you expect others to be here? Well, I guess like servants or guards or some other officials? Most needs in the palace are covered by artificial intelligence and drones. Same goes for the palace defense. I suppose it may be different from where you're from, but the siblings learned long ago that the fewer sapiens you have in a location that need to be secure, the better. You and I are the exception. The bread tastes like literal chalk, so I decide to spread a little bit of the cheese on it despite the smell. To my surprise, it's salty and creamy and not at all bad. The smell is hard to ignore, though. So, what is the point of having a pet, then? Amicus didn't tell you? Well, he did. He just mentioned status and stuff. Is there any other reason? Why do we have to do stuff for them if they have robots that can do it instead? Status is the main reason, yes. Our duty is to be by their side during public appearances or in official meetings. Obviously, having an artificial sapient doing the same isn't impressive at all. Well, don't really have to do anything manual in the palace, but Cassius likes the idea of a sapient being his servant. He says it reminds him of the old days. I see. Amicus told me that I didn't really have to do anything for him except brush his fur. Ah, yes, Amicus is very meticulous about that. Do you know him well? Fairly well. I've been here for a few months, so I've had my fair share of interactions with him, even though Cassius doesn't like it. I see. What do you think of him? I think that you're very lucky to have a master like Amicus. Why's that? Well, Amicus is very kind. Sometimes he tries to be all official and assertive, and he likes to tease me, but he comes off as more open, whether he tends to or not. Hey guys, I'm gonna adjust some settings on my laptop to see if I can keep the screen from doing this from cutting the frame rate while it's unplugged. 1 second, guys. I'll be right. Come on, I'll be right back. Alright, guys, and we are back. Alright, let's pick it right back up. Well, Namagus is very kind. Sometimes he tries to be all official and assertive and he likes to tease me, but he comes off as more open, whether he intends to or not. This is all compared to Cassius, of course. I think for a moment. Do you not like being Cassius's pet? There's a pause, though Alexios continues to smile. Cassius is very specific about how he wants to be talked to and such. But this is a great quality for a prospective emperor to have, for sure. But in casual conversation, it's much easier to talk to someone like Amicus. I take a sip of the wine as far as I can tell. It's similar to the few times I've had it on Earth. He has been really nice to me, at least after the whole kidnapping thing. He's a very nice person. He just tends to not think everything through. Alexios' eyes flick to look behind me before he focuses back on my face. Understand that normally we shouldn't speak so candidly about our masters. This is just a conversation between pets. Oh, yeah, I understand. There's a moment of silence that goes on just long enough to be uncomfortable. Yes, I thought you would. I have to say that you're extremely perceptive, almost on the same level as a sibling. I wince internally as Alexios points out my intelligence again. It only took me 10 minutes to fail my one and only job. Alexios smiles at me again. Was I not supposed to know that? Apparently he's perceptive as well. Don't worry, like I said, this is between pets. Alexios leans in conspiratorially. I don't just blab everything I know to my master, I'm simply his servant, not spy. He leans back again. Though he might wish I was, but honestly it's really nice to be able to talk to someone other than my superiors. Amicus was the only one to treat me as an equal, but Cassius usually keeps our contact minimal. I put the last bit of bread into my mouth, and as soon as I do, Alexios sits up. Come, we're finished. Yes, Alexios. I watch with fascination as the dishes levitate off the table and float away from the archway they originally came through. Do you want to go outside? Like I said, there's not much to do, but the gardens do require a more sapient touch to keep them presentable. Yeah, sure. I brush crumbs off of my jeans and stand up. I'm still hungry, but the amount that I've eaten has taken the edge off of it at least. I follow Alexios quietly through the halls, really enjoying the architecture of the palace for the first time. We enter the main hall, and Alexios stands in the sunlight pouring in through the archways. Aren't the mornings beautiful here? This is the best time to do work in the gardens. I'd say we have a good 3 hours before it gets too hot. We start walking out into the gardens when I'm suddenly struck by something odd. So you just said we have 3 hours? Yes. Well, how long is an hour here? The same. Oh, we use the same minutes and hours and stuff? That didn't seem possible. Alexios thinks, rubbing the spot above his left eyebrow. Well, the lingua is a complicated device. It's parental text, so it's something that we don't really understand at all. But what we do know is that it translates language in a way that offers the best understanding possible for the host. Alexios crouches by a pillar, examining the ivy growing around its surface. I used a measurement of time specific to the wolves and their language, and the lingua simply translated it to a measurement you'd better understand. The small cat chuckles. It's something I've given up on understanding myself. It's not perfect and can create really confusing situations, especially when it comes to certain words and numbers. Oh. I see Alexios single out a small white flower growing at the base of the pillar before he plucks it out and sets it to the side. Yeah, guys, if you have any idea why my monitor's refresh rate would go down to like 30 when I'm using a laptop and I have it unplugged, let me know. I've checked NVIDIA battery boost. That's not an issue. I've checked my Windows settings. Battery saver doesn't kick on until 20%. So I would like to know why the battery is just... I mean, I would like to know why the screen is just kind of cutting the refresh rate so drastically. Anyway, I see Alexia... Okay, I already did that. Okay. I start to wonder if I should maybe learn the language. The lingua is impressive and all, but it doesn't seem like it's very specific. Alexios grins. Don't think too much about it. Just try to remember that that doesn't mean everything actually is the same. There are 19 hours in a day on Adastra, which I imagine is at least somewhat different compared to your own planet. Anyway, what I'm doing right now is pulling up some weeds. The drones do a good job of watering them pest control, but they often miss smaller weeds like these. I crouch at the pillar next to Alexios, searching through the ivy for weeds to pull at the base. So, there are 19 hours in a day here? Yes. That's a bit shorter than back home. Oh, I get that. There are 30 hours in a day where I'm from. You get used to it after a few weeks, though. I prefer it, actually. I turn my attention back to the pillar and suddenly find myself staring right at a strange crab-like thing sticking to the stone. At first I wonder if it's a carving of some kind since it's so big, but as I look closer it moves and I realize it's a massive living spider. Next thing I know, I'm rolling away from the pillar action movie style before popping back up to my feet. Oh my god! What is it? A spider thing! I'm standing a good 10 feet away from the pillar now, but I can still see the massive spider's thick legs fanned out to the width of a clock. I shiver. Yeah! Oh, oh, I see. I stare at him. How is that funny? I'm sorry, they're very startling when you first encounter them. Alexios walks up to the spider and starts making shooing motions at it. Even from here I can see its black, beady eyes. It doesn't move at all, choosing to sit motionlessly on the pillar. Adastra arachnids and insects are disturbingly large compared to the ones on my home moon. I look around and suddenly feeling like I'm in danger, imagining giant wasps descending from the skies. Alexios starts to look more frustrated as the spider refuses to be intimidated by his limp-wristed swipes. Nothing in the gardens is dangerous, though, and they're needed to balance the ecosystem. This creature's venom is far too mild to cause much more than an itchy bump if it bites at all. Alexios gives another weak swipe at the spider, and it takes the opportunity to bolt up his arm so fast that it becomes a blur before stopping on his face. For a moment, we both stand there in shock as it clings to him like a facehugger. Then... Yes, it's harmless until the damn thing is on your fucking face. By Gallon, get it off! He dances around in place for a moment as I simply watch in fascinated horror. Finally, he shakes his head hard and the spider runs down his front, scuttle across the ground and into some bushes. Alexios heaves for breath for a moment, trembling. Despite myself, I have to laugh in amazement at what I just saw. Well, why are you laughing? Sorry, it was just so surprising and you were so sure of yourself until... I chuckle again. Well, it surprised me. He shivers, rubbing his shoulders. There's honestly nothing to be afraid of when it comes to those, but it was right on me and the way they move. He shudders again. And you just stood there and watched. I mean, what could I have done? If that had happened to me, I would have jumped into the pond. Alexios sighs and I see his fur start to flatten down again. Then he also chuckles. Well, I was about to. Anyway, let's get back to work. If you see another spider, just work around it. Yeah, apparently. Good lord. For the next hour, we move from pillar to pillar, cleaning up the unwanted weeds. And I'm way more vigilant now, checking every pillar for spiders before we start. Would that be better or would that be worse? Is it better to not see them and to wonder if they're there? Or is it better to actually see them and to be quite aware of their presence, but to know where they are in relation to you? Huh. I mean, if they're as passive as Daddy Longlegs, then I imagine it wouldn't be an issue. I guess you would just be... I don't want to think about that. Fuck. Oh, Lord, I'm getting chills right now. No thank you, no thank you, no thank you. Luckily, we don't come across anymore. After a while, we finally sit on a bench under some trees and Calm floats out a few platters of tiny pastries that remind me of quiches. Those are followed by glasses of cold, green, vegetable-tasting drinks. It's delicious. So, can I ask where you're from? Very far away, even further than your home. What brought you here? The cat sighs and pauses with a pastry halfway to his mouth. It's a bit complicated, but I was here as a sort of ambassador. I arrived just as the stretch drive depletion occurred. What was that? Alexios shrugs. Well, for whatever reason, the Romanists stopped supplying the wolves with stretch drive power when the Emperor died. They're starbound right now, so they can't shuttle me back to my planet. The situation between the wolves and their parents is worrying, and we don't know how long the wolves will be without the stretch, so my people sent their own ship to retrieve everyone on Adastra, but I, missed it. Missed it? Alexios frowns, looking embarrassed again. Well, I slept in and missed the departure. Wow, really? I mean, it happens to the best of us, no? I guess, why didn't they wait for you? That's kind of messed up that they just leave. When using the stretch tech, time is important. Everything runs on a specific schedule, so if you miss it, you miss it. And they're certainly not going to send another one out for one person. Wow, didn't you have an alarm clock or something to wake you? Trust me, it was a series of many unfortunate events that led to that happening. The main one being that even though I woke up with enough time to reach the starport, I got lost in Adastra City's terrible public transportation system. I was running from platform to platform. Wolves are around me trying to touch me because I've never seen a cat before. And I could barely read the signs because, well, for my species, water comes from the eyes when we're stressed, so... Oh, you were crying. You know what that is? Yeah, my species does it too. He looks away and I can see the insides of his ears turn red. Ah, I did not know that. It's a shared trait among us and the wolves, but I didn't know many others that do. I didn't know that many others that do it, aside from the Chemians. Anyways, I eventually decided to use my situation to continue my work and build a relationship with the Imperial family, so I became Cassius's pet. Alexios' situation doesn't sound all that different from mine, even though the reasons for us getting here were very different. When does the next ship come? Alexios shrugs. Years. At least one a decade, but sometimes more. I'm hoping within the next few years, though. I'm sorry to hear that. It's not the worst life, and the wolves treat me well enough. We do have a special relationship. With Cassius? Between us and the wolves, like the other siblings, our parents originated in the same galaxy. Though our views are very different, there's a bond there. Alexios brushes his paws together. Are you done? Yeah. Come, we're finished. And with that, the platters and glasses float away. I'm starting to get used to all this. But Killian, is it? Yeah. I'm sorry. I guess we skipped introductions. You already know me as Alexios, but you can call me Alex. Hello, Alex. Hello, Killian. So now that we're no longer pretending that you're not so sapient anymore, where are you from? Tell me about yourself. That gives me some pause. Well, he's been really nice to me so far. I know I can't just reveal everything to Alex, so I settle on being vague like he was. Well, I'm from far away, but less far away than you. I'm a primate. I see. Are you important among your people? No, I'm just a student. Oh, do you know why Amicus chose you then? I think he just chose me at random. I just happened to be where the uplift occurred. Alexios blinks, then laughs. That's just like Amicus. Yeah, it is actually. But I guess it makes sense to choose a commoner if he wants to unite the abandoned children again. Oh yeah? I decided that shifting the conversation away from me is a good tactic for now. Yeah, didn't he explain that to you? Maybe a little. He didn't tell me all that much. Don't take it personally. Amicus doesn't often think ahead. Right now, the wolves are in a bit of a strange situation. Again, this is between you and me, but they've fallen behind the other siblings in terms of spread and resources. The main reason being that they don't uplift their children to similar intelligence levels as themselves. Intelligence levels? I thought they just spread their culture. Alex frowns at me. You don't know? I guess you were abandoned, but you should know that every child's intelligence was uplifted by a sibling. Oh, no, I guess we just lost that bit of information. Well, that's not the end of their problems. These children are indentured servants in a way. In exchange for having their intelligence mostly uplifted, they have to serve the Empire until the debt is repaid. That doesn't sound good. Oh, and how long has that been going on? Well, let's just say that the first successfully uplifted wolf children haven't quite finished repaying their debt. That sounds like slavery. Alex glances at me. It does, doesn't it? That's confusing me. But if they have all those robots and stuff, why do they need sapients to be their slaves? Advanced artificial sapients are gifted by the parents. We can't build them. We're a bit spoiled here in the palace, but outside not so much. And even then, artificial sapience isn't perfect and likely never will be. Actual thinking machines don't exist. This is why uplifting children to the same intelligence level as a sibling is important. Good ideas can come from anywhere. I guess your people don't do that don't do what the wolves do? No, we uplift our children as much as we can. This practice is isolated to the wolves. They're seen by the other siblings as harsh on their own children and the rights of sapience in general. I see. I'm starting to see the wolves and even Amicus in a whole new light. As if reading my mind, Alex goes on. But things are changing. Amicus choosing you as his pet shows that he sees you as close to an equal. But then there's Cassius. Alex's tail swishes around on the bench between us. He'd rather things stay the same, or even regress. That's why he's made a strong challenge against Amicus. There are many wolves who are unsure of the change Amicus suggests, and the proposed alliance between the wolves and the Chemians is only adding to it. Chemians? They're the other sibling species, the most powerful in the galaxy, in fact. But that worries a lot of people here. There hasn't been a war between siblings in over 100 years, but the last one was between the Chemians and the wolves. You can imagine what sort of problems that might create. So Cassius wants the wolves to stay independent and in complete control of their children. in complete control of their children is rather popular. You might wonder why I'm telling you this, but I want you to understand the empire that you're in. It will make it easier to navigate. I was in fact wondering why he's telling me all this. Does he have some other motive that he's not telling me? I look over at him. Do you want Cassius to become emperor? I like that we can discuss a lot of things, and being a sibling allows me to have more freedom than most, but that's one thing that I should probably keep silent on. That only confuses me more, but it doesn't sound like he's on Cassius' side. Maybe Amicus and I could find an ally in him. Well, I think I would prefer Amicus if this whole thing is to treat other sapients equally. From what I can tell, that seems to please Alex. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out enough after the trials. Oh, alright. Alright, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and leave a super thanks if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!